Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know how this machine worked.
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
And it was wrong. It was a bad call, Ripley. It was a bad call.
Bad call.
Some are good for fighting, others for dying.
It's Just Two Movies.
Welcome back to another episode of It's Just Two Movies. My name is Daniel King. In the studio with me tonight is no one but via, I guess, mobile connection, Facebook call. We've got Brandon Stewart with us this evening.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Dan. Danny boy. Danny boy.
Hey, Brandon.
Do you see that? Do you see it behind you?
What's that?
They're filming fucking midgets. They're filming fucking midgets over there.
Yeah, for those of you guys that don't know, Brandon Stewart's a friend of the show. Brandon, won't you take a moment and tell everybody about yourself?
Yeah, I've been recently doing a show where ATI Podcast. That's primarily where I'm on. It's mostly we like to say it's movies, entertainment, and politics, but it's mostly politics lately. We do a lot of random skits, and we just did an election for ATI Podcast. And then I also have a Instagram account, a shop open on Etsy. It's Ed Oz Imperious Emporium after my late father. I paint a lot of miniature figures and sell them across the world.
Yeah,
I think my first sale was in Greece.
Very nice.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. And they look great, man. I like to paint them as a hobbyist, but honestly, man, if I come across a really cool painted one, I'm like, all right, I gotta have it. It's like, I don't want to spend 80 hours not 80 hours. That's a massive exaggeration. 5 hours painting something that'll just be like, oh man, it doesn't look as cool as
it takes a while. It takes a lot of, but it's very therapeutic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Make sure that, that you don't like, think about killing your mother or
right.
whatever.
Yeah, relaxing.
It's a random thought that somebody else would think.
Yeah, you think about like, what little adventures this dude's been on. That's what I do anyway.
Yeah.
So we kind of met through doing that podcast mutually, and for this podcast, if it's your first time tuning in, it's just two movies. We watch a good movie, and then we watch something else that's like, hopefully it's so bad it's good. Sometimes it's just bad, like just real bad. Hopefully we can have some laughs while we're giving it a watch. Now, normally we will do this on a Friday night. And normally, whoever the guest of the show is, will just come over to my house and we hang out and we have some drinks and we watch a movie and have, fucking pizza or cookout or whatever. So this is the first show that we've ever done remotely.
Yeah, I'm proud to do so.
Yeah.
I've been listening. Long-time listener, Danny. Long-time listener.
Well, good. That's fantastic, man. We've been at it for a hot minute now. I think actually is this this should be episode 101 actually.
Wow. I'm kind of upset I didn't get the 100. But I did like 101 Dalmatians where they were talking about skinning all those dogs. So
that's also a movie. Yeah.
I'm into it.
So first time guest of the show, I was let you pick the movie. Like what's one of your favorite movies? Whether you think I have or haven't seen it in a really long time. And you selected In Bruges.
This is not one of my favorite movies. This is my favorite movie of all time.
I
think I've watched this movie in every facet known to mankind. Alamo Drafthouse. I had a 5-course meal with 5 beer pairing. I went to Bruges while I was overseas, and my wife did a scavenger hunt based off of this movie.
Oh wow!
I've collectively, I'm obsessed with this movie, and I think that the director especially it's somebody that really hit me with this first debut.
Yeah, it is a hell of a film. So if you're not familiar with In Bruges, it is a 2008 crime comedy, 1 hour, 47-minute runtime. I rented it on Prime. I couldn't find it anywhere else. It's got a 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb, 84% of Rotten Tomatoes, 84% on Just Watch, and 89% of Google users like this movie. Release date February 8th, directed by Martin McDonagh. Budget was $15 million US. Box office came in at $34.5 million. Music composed by Carter Burrell. Carter Burwell.
I believe
Stars
it's Scottish.
ah,
Yeah.
gotcha. Stars Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson. I'm gonna butcher some of these. Clements Posey, Ralph Fiennes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Theka Rutan, Jordan
I
Prentice,
don't know.
and Jeremy Renier instead of Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, it's
Like,
definitely Renier. There's no reason why that man should be in this movie. So
so Brandon, tell us for anybody out there that doesn't know, has never heard of In Bruges, doesn't think that it's even a real movie. What would you briefly tell them that it's about without spoiling it?
it is about a set of assassins who have been sent to a town, the most beautiful fairy tale town in all of Europe.
It's a pretty good
And
town.
I mean, it's a fairy tale for the rest of us. But one particular individual, Colin Farrell's character, does not believe it to be so. He's very much a city boy.
Yep.
Wants to go out and party, the things and like, and we start to see, not to give anything away, but we start to see things about Colin Farrell's character where he is having some remorse about something, but
Yeah.
we don't find out until later on.
Very good. And yeah, that's a great setup for it. I don't. I was thinking about this earlier. I'm like, I'm not really sure how I would describe this to somebody apart from just tell them what the beginning is about. I think overall, it's got way more going for it than just one guy. He's grumpy, and the other guy he wants to go see the sights. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's got some
Yeah.
layers. It's good.
Yeah, the one thing that really captured me about this is the title sequence, especially, is very so it advertises itself as a comedy. But the very beginning is a narration that is, and the music alone in the intro, if anybody can listen to the prologue for In Bruges right now, it's very dismal, but fairy tale like. I
Yeah,
mean, it's just, it kind of captures you in that way. But it's something that is a lot of people I tell that it is my favorite movie, and they ask me, "Really? Why?" And that being in the sense that it can be very dark,
yeah.
but a lot of people don't know me, so
Not I wouldn't say darker than the guy that gets his eyeball scooped out. You know what I'm saying? Because dark for that guy because he's only got one
oh
eye.
yeah,
Anyway, they're
yeah,
not all home runs. So
yeah,
let's In Bruges. We're gonna get into it. Full spoilers from here on out for a movie from 2008. But I get what you're saying when you're like, this is my favorite movie. I could definitely see this being a favorite movie of many, many, many people. I loved it. I had a blast with this. I've seen it maybe twice. Once shortly after it came out, and I don't know if I even paid any attention to it. And then this time, which was a lovely revisit. I really really enjoyed the shit out of it. So let's get into it. They get to
yeah.
Bruges. They get in Bruges, and they got a one room twin
And all
bed.
the Bruges, they get right in those Bruges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Christmas time, they're full up, so they're gonna have to bunk up in this little room with two beds. Colin Farrell, he's just a grub of a man. He just hates everything about everything where they're at. Just a real grumpy stick in the mud. But not Gleason.
Yeah,
Though.
that he is. No, he's happy.
Oh yeah.
He's a happy man.
Oh, Gleason's really enjoying himself. He gets it. He gets the lovely fairy tale place and all that jazz.
Yeah, I think from the moment that they get in there, he's already mapping stuff out of what he wants to see.
I like that they show a lot of the like architecture and artwork and stuff like that.
Most definitely. Especially the tower, I believe, is one of the first things that we see around, and it's very gothic.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the movie, you would think, oh, well, it's movies, so they probably filmed somewhere else. No, they filmed in Bruges. Every single thing that was there in the movie, I got to see firsthand.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. One thing I will say is that the tower later on that we'll find out is much windier no matter what day it is windy all the fucking time. And there are very many shots where certain actors are up there and the wind is not blowing at all, which I find very impossible.
That's cool though, man. That sounds like a neat place to go. I haven't gone very many places. Did a little spell up north in Canada, and yeah. I think we're gonna go to the Bahamas sometime next year. That's the plan anyway.
Oh, that'd be cool. No, I got lucky. I got to do it because of my job, and just being a brainwashed grunt like I am. So I got a chance that not many people get to have, but goddamned if I wasn't going to see the place that was the main stage for the movie that I love. So
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Okay, where are we at? They get there. They're like waiting to hear from their boss, right?
right, and I believe it's whenever they meet up at the main or their hotel spot, and
Yeah.
they get there at their hotel spot as a pregnant Belgian woman, and the whole time we're just hearing Colin Farrell, just talking shit this entire time.
Just crying, man. He's just being a crybaby.
He is the biggest fucking little puss that's ever walked the planet.
It's like, I don't want to be here.
Like-
It's fucking boring. Fucking whatever. Fuck this place.
And the first thing that's on his mind, of course, is beer, and going out,
Yeah.
because he's a kid, you know, in the mental sense. But yeah, that's when we first meet our two characters, and
They're an odd couple. They're an odd couple, these two. I like the
one would say a buddy cop.
yeah, it is kind of buddy assassin, I guess. But they
Yeah.
go out. It's like the first or second night they decide to go out. They're having a couple drinks or whatever. They're going for a walk, and he's like, "Holy fuck! They're filming fucking midgets over there," which is not very
Yeah.
PC. But in 08, especially overseas, they even address it in this movie. They're like,
Yeah.
actually, he
Yeah.
prefers to be called a dwarf. Oh, okay, gotcha. And then later he does.
Danny, I do want to say, I know this is your show, but for the listeners right now,
Yeah.
I want to say that this movie is not PC at all.
No, this one's not. They're throwing around some racial stuff, and it's dated, but it's out there. Is it
It's very
is it
minor on that.
is it
Yeah.
any worse than some other stuff? Absolutely not. But it is not very PC. If that like super duper upsets you, maybe not for you. Anyway, yeah. Moving
Yep.
forward, they they go out and he's chatting up the midget and he sees this beautiful girl and a dwarf little person, whichever term. And what's his name?
I believe his name's Tyrion. Or
Tyrion.
Is that the wrong movie? I'm joking.
Very good.
No, okay. Yeah. So,
Are you
This
implying that all
smaller
little
cute-
people look the same?
well, I was going to say that they're all Tyrions now, but I also think that probably I did warn you. This is not going to be very PC.
No.
I will say he sees this blonde woman, and this is after he's begged Brendan Gleeson's character to go out. I think they're walking together. I'm trying to, because the whole movie is, I feel, so long, but it all kind of blends together, and like what I pictured this movie being is like episodes of short films. And normally I'd be really pissed off if I watched a film that was super choppy, but this is not choppy. It blends well. These are 15-minute little short stories or however long. Don't quote me on that. But they're 15-minute little short films that are like a TV series. And progressively, like you see, I cannot believe I can't remember his fucking name right now, but Colin Farrell's character goes through this building up moment, and Brendan Gleeson is going through this dealing with Colin Farrell's character. Ken is, I'll always remember Ken's name because Brendan Gleeson is
Oh
one of the
man,
most amazing actors
man,
ever.
he's great. And like on the revisit, I pulled it up and was looking at this before I watched it. I was like, oh fuck, I got extra pumped. I remembered Colin Farrell was in it, but I didn't remember Brendan Gleeson was in it. And man, he is phenomenal.
He is. He really is. He's in a lot of amazing films. And I believe he's Scottish too. Maybe that's the reason why I love the connection so much. But because I'm Scottish too. But they're going through all these trials and tribulations. He's like, we'll see these sights. Colin Farrell's character is like following along, bored as fuck, and he's drinking one of his last beers, and he sees they're filming fucking midgets.
Yeah.
And that's whenever he sees the blonde lady off to the side. Let me tell you,
Oh,
back in
he's-
2008, whenever this film came out,
Mhm.
I was head over heels for this woman. I thought she was the most beautiful woman on the planet. And he sneaks back because of his assassin ways, goes back to the back and goes by the tent where, like, the green room tent. What is that? Like the snacks for actors
Craft
in the
services.
background. Right. And they, I believe, even at that point out, I believe the blonde points out that he is on horse tranquilizers.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And then he tries his best to sweeten her over and feels like he's failed, and she drops her card with her address.
He nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, good for you, Colin Farrell. I mean, I would have fucked him right off, like right there, but that's just me personally.
So they finally get
Look
back
at
in.
him.
They finally get back in for the evening. The boss left a note, not fucking pleased that they weren't there when he called.
Mm-mm. Nope.
No, and that's
Nope.
what's his name? I just said it.
It is
Ralph Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah, that's the man.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you get a little flashback to Colin Farrell's botched job, like why he
Mhm.
why maybe why he's acting like such a little poopy pants. It's just maybe it's a way of acting out because of his fucking straight up trauma, but it's pretty rough, man. The flashback, he's there to assassinate a Catholic priest. And one time when he shoots the priest, a bullet goes through the priest and hits a little boy in the head and kills a little boy.
Right.
So that's his like trauma or whatever. He killed that kid and he's having a hard time dealing with it because what did he have on the paper that he was like praying for penance for or whatever? It was like talking.
Yeah, like
it was not
talking his mom or talking back.
Just regular kid shit. Man, it's pretty rough bit. You can tell it's really tearing him up, and they do a really good job the whole movie of like playing that up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. He's a little shit, right? He gets drunk, and I believe we're skipping over a few things. So Colin Farrell like gets super excited.
Oh,
He's brushing his teeth.
They go to the art
I said-
museum. I think I might have skipped that.
Yeah. Was it the Jesus Christ? I have all these images in my head of this fucking movie, but not in sequential order because they are meant to be like these 15-minute.
Right.
But yeah, so the kid dies, and he goes through these moments of complete mania, and also bitching about things.
Oh,
Like, yeah, he's crying as soon as somebody mentions what he had done. He instantly bawls, like loses his fucking mind.
Yeah, man. It's well done. You know what I mean? That all that stuff comes across really well. You get a little bit of them at the art museum after his flashback concludes, and I like the little tour of the art museum. They're checking out some Bosch and some Gerard David. There's a couple other ones that pop up in there real briefly, but they're cool paintings. That one, the flaying of fucking some dude, I can't remember his name. Pretty brutal stuff.
Yeah, it's very dark. Everything that they're looking through.
So
you get the sense that both assassins are desensitized to a certain degree, or at least that's what I got. That they're looking at all this stuff, and Ken is very interested. It's gonna kill me to not know Colin Farrell's fucking name in this.
I've got it in here
Since
somewhere.
it's my favorite
Ray.
fucking
It's
movie.
Ray.
Yeah, it's Ray. I keep on brain farting, but of course this would be the day to do it. But then I believe that's whenever Ray makes about we can go around looking at all your fancy arty stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I can go out later to or we can go out and have a few pints.
So he's celebrating. He got a date with the girl, and they're going to dinner. And
He's like, you can barely hear him anyways because Colin Farrell at this point is full on Irish.
oh yeah,
There is like so much dialect of him just like just being a straight fucking Irish bastard. I had 4 pints, six shot. No, I had 6 pints, 4 red. It's like I'm not even pissed.
yeah,
I'm not even pissed. And Ken wakes up to all of this shit and he's pissed.
yeah.
He's like, I told you these are the parameters that we go off of. Guess what, Ken? I have a date.
Yeah, and he's stoked for his fucking dinner date. So he goes out to dinner with the girl, and I love their interaction, how they're like hitting on each other, but they're not. Neither one of them are really sure how it's going, and then he tells that joke.
Yeah, yeah. What is it? He's basically talking.
Is it the Swedes? What nationality is it?
He's talking. Paul. Wait a second. Belgians. He's making fun of Belgians.
You know what Belgians are known for?
He's making fun of Belgians to a Belgian chick.
Yeah, chocolates and child abuse. Because they were talking about that. They were talking about this terrible news article where all these children were abused, and then he tells this really poor tack joke, and I found it to be incredibly charming.
And the blonde that was in it, she's sitting across from him, and she's like, "One of my friends that happened to her."
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." See, I cannot remember everybody else's name except for fucking Ray. Chloe, I know for a fact because she's the most gorgeous person on the planet, except for my wife. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Chloe. I'm just joking. Didn't have any friends that happened to. Mm-hmm. And then she just walks away.
Yep.
Goes to the bathroom.
So meantime, a guy next to him is like, unbelievable. And I really like this. They've got a real good, like 2.5 page running joke here. So he gets in an argument with the patron sitting next to them, and their interaction becomes violent, and Ray punches the guy, and then he turns around and the guy's wife is coming at him with a wine bottle, and he fucking socks her in the face. That's funny because when she turns around, he's like, "Fucking bottle."
Yeah. Can I break down this scene for you?
Yeah, Yes, please do.
Yeah, go ahead, Pryor.
No. Pryor, when he's walking with Ken, they're having a conversation. No, they're sitting on a park bench or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, do you have anybody you killed that you regretted?" And he's like, "I killed this guy that was just defending his brother one time. You know, he came at me with a bottle." And he's like, "Well, a bottle's a fucking deadly weapon. At that point, you're just defending yourself." So they have this long drawn out discussion about it because of a bottle.
And Ray is especially pissed off.
Oh, Ray's on this.
Ken.
Oh yeah.
The Ken doesn't get it.
Yeah,
of course, he came at you with a bottle. He could kill you.
Yeah. I think Ken agrees with him at the end. He's like, you know what? Yeah, I think you're right. But anyway, he sees this bottle on this woman. He's like, but he's on this date, so he's trying to have a nice time. And the date comes around the corner just in time to see him hit the woman. And he's outside like, "Listen, I would have never hit her. She came at me with a bottle. It's a deadly weapon. It's at that point, it's self-defense." He's just doing the whole spiel over and over again. And it's a very good, 3 pages of script running joke. You know what I mean? And then they just drop it.
The best part about it, there's an American that is sitting there with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's the couple away. So whenever Chloe goes to go to the bathroom.
Oh, he's Canadian.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's Canadian. Been smoking in the restaurant because you can do that in Europe because that's Europe. And the Canadian is bitching about her blowing smoke in his face, which is not going in his fucking face. Fuck this guy.
Right.
Even if it is, you're in the smoking section. But the velocity that this woman slings this bottle, I'm on Ray's side at this point. I mean, she looks like and he literally decks her so hard she drops where she was standing, just immediately.
Oh yeah, like a fucking bag of rocks.
Oh my god.
So
So
he gets
good.
outside, he's apologizing, and they're like, well, let's do this again. Let's have another date. They go on a second date, which you kind of like fast forward through, and then they wind up at her apartment.
So they kind of do. I like the way that I took it, if I can remember correctly, that she continued that date, and they ended up going up there, and said that there was something about the boyfriend coming up, about the drug dealer boyfriend. Do you know what I'm talking
Oh
about?
yeah. He comes in. He's like, "Is that? Oh, you didn't tell me you had a boyfriend." And she's like, "He's not my boyfriend. We just like rob people sometimes." And he's like, "You were gonna fucking rob me?" She's like, "No, no, no." So the guy pulls a gun on Colin Farrell, and he's like, "I'm
Yeah,
gonna fucking shoot you, man." And then Colin Farrell fucking like just slaps the gun away from him and like punches him in the face, and then takes the
and
gun.
grabs the gun.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
he pulls out a boot knife, and he's like, "I'm an act," because she's working with all these. She sells drugs to actors. So the guy's like, "Haha, you got that gun? That gun's got fucking blanks in it." Because I assume it's like a stage prop, I guess, or they just bought blanks specifically for it, which seems weird. Anyway, it's got
yeah. It's to rob. It's to rob people.
yeah. So yeah, I guess they can shoot it off in the air or whatever. So anyway, Colin Farrell's got the gun. The guy's got the knife. He like slaps the knife out of his hand and shoots him right in the eye with the blank. Just absolutely
Yeah,
get him
and
with the muzzle flash.
I believe he even says. And by the way, blanks are extremely dangerous up close.
I would imagine.
Gives the guy like eye damage. But anyways, we forgot to mention a fucking quote. So for everybody, I know we're kind of scattered right now, but the one thing that was really awesome about the bottle moment was, "That's for John Lennon, you Yankee fucking cunt," um, which has nothing to do with Canadians,
Nope.
but somehow he lands that whole fucking thing. Uh, and I guess we could do the quotes at the very end if you want to, but there's some really good ones.
Man, there are some really just some of the dialogue in this is outstanding altogether.
The dialogue is the best part about it.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, I like all the stuff Ralph Fiennes is getting in when they do call him on the phone, and he's like, "It's fucking
Yeah.
magical." I say, "It's fucking magical." You see the swans in
I
that?
will. I mean, because we really. I mean, like I said, that is what the movie is all about. We can walk you guys through all of this, but one of my favorite lines that Ralph Fiennes says towards the very end is, "Leave my kids fucking out of it. What have they done? You fucking retract that bit about my cunt fucking kids."
He's like, "I retract the bit about your cunt fucking
Retract
kids."
that bit about my cunt fucking kids, because he acknowledges his kids are cunts, and he's agreeing with them.
Yeah, he
Like,
is. Still a little uncalled for, but yeah, no, he's nailing it too.
it's not. His kids are cunts.
They
Let's
probably
be
are.
honest. Yeah, look at him. At this point, I believe Ray has gone on and done that with the girl. Says he's like, "Chloe, you didn't really fucking like me to begin with, did you? This is all a fucking thing. It's been a bad day. Oh my god, all these things and stuff that's happened to me throughout this day. You don't even probably like me." And she's like, "No, I do."
Yeah,
And they start messing around.
yeah,
Whatever. Which I wish, whatever.
and
Anyways,
then she's got to take her friend to the hospital because he's got his fucking eyeball burned out of his skull.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
God, that's a big bang.
yeah. So she's got to rush him off, and he's like, oh no." She's like, "No, let's do this again." So they split, but before he leaves, he takes all her drugs.
That's right. Oh
He
my
does.
God.
He's just
Yeah,
he's poking
starts
around.
rifling.
Yeah, he's poking around. and
Right.
So Brendan Gleeson's at the bar. You cut to Brendan Gleeson at the bar. He's having a drink. He looks like he's pissed off and just grumpy and tired. Nobody wants to hang out with him, and the boss is mad and all this stuff, and it's just a bad.
Yeah.
Now I'm having a bad time. And the little person walks in, and he sits up next to the bar, and he's got this
It's the same guy, same actor.
yeah, same actor, gorgeous long-legged lady with him, and she's like, "I'm gonna go to the bathroom." And
Two.
he walks off, and Brendan Gleeson's like, "Your girlfriend's really pretty," And he's like, it's not my girlfriend. That's a prostitute. That's a prostitute I picked up. He's like, your prostitute's very lovely. He's like, thank you.
And the whole time, by the way, all right, again, I have to preface this. This movie is not PC, and you would be losing some of the magic of it if you did not talk about some of the things were absolutely not PC.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever Tyrion is reaching up for a beer, it's very hard for him to grab this beer
Yeah.
and this glass of wine. Like, it's very difficult. And he's struggling already. And Ken mentions all that you just said. And then I believe that's whenever Tyrion basically says something to the effect of, I'm on horse tranquilizers right now.
Yeah.
Or cocaine
Yeah,
or
he's like,
something
hey,
like that.
how come you didn't wave at me earlier today when I waved at you? Because they'd already had an interaction. And
That's whenever
he's like, oh, sorry,
Ray
man.
comes in, yeah.
I was on a lot of horse tranquilizer. I didn't
Yeah.
wave at anybody except maybe a horse.
That's whenever Ray finally gets up there, because so this is where it gets really dark.
I love when Ray gets to the bar. He slides up next to Brendan Gleeson. He's like, I've got 4 grams of cocaine, and he's just like, he's like, what do you do with? How'd you get 4 grams of cocaine? He's like, I didn't get 4, I got 5. So my heart's racing.
And they're looking at him, and it's just a close shot of both of them, and Ken in the background, like, all fucked up, out of his mind.
Yeah, so they essentially all just go out and fucking party all night. So Ken, Ray,
Up in an attic.
and Ken, Ray, and what's the other guy's name? The character? It's like
Ken, Ray, and
like
Tyrion.
It's like Brian or something. I don't know. He's got a regular
Yeah, it
ass
probably
name.
is. Yeah.
Like Tim or whatever. But they're them all partying and stuff. Like, it's just like a party montage from several other movies you've seen before. But the bit that's crazy is like the little person, he's sitting up on the counter, and I guess he's just secretly racist because he's talking about a race war. And then they're all like, okay, fucking what? It does get dark though.
And
he while he's talking about it, Ken's like, my wife was black. So where do you want me to stand in this?
Yeah,
You know,
he goes. So first of all, one of the hookers, I think, is of another culture, so she's already blackish. But this man's like, yeah, man, what do you guys think? Like, I think the whites are gonna fight with the Asians, and the blacks are gonna fight with they go white midgets and black midgets. Who are they gonna fight on? On their opposing sides.
yeah, right.
And
He's like, so you're gonna
Ken
have
breaks down,
and he's like, it's gonna come to that, man. Like, the guy's just fucking insane.
and Ken goes into how his wife was black, and if she were alive, what side would they stand on? And this fucking little shit, just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say.
You should weigh your options. That's what he
You
does.
should weigh your options.
You should carefully weigh your
I'm
options.
sorry that your wife has passed. Not anything like that. And then Ken lays down one of the best lines in the whole movie. Couple of manky hookers and a racist dork.
Yeah, so they fuck
Fucking
off and they get out of there. But man, it's such a delightful scene with them kind of partying
Wait a
and
second.
hanging out.
They don't just get out of there. Do you remember the dwarf? Or sorry.
Oh yeah, he fucking
Tyrion.
karate. He's like, hey man, he's like, I'll fucking kick your ass. And he's like, what if I know karate? He just fucking karate chops him right in the neck. And he's like, fuck.
Yeah,
And
Ray
just rolls over.
Ray nails him in the neck with just the side of his hand.
It calls him a
It was
short
wonderful.
arse on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, good stuff.
Couple of things that we missed, and we're still going. I get that. There's a point where Ken goes up through the tower, and Ray is sitting down on a bench because he doesn't want to go and walk through all of this, bullshit history shit.
He doesn't care about any of it.
And Ken is walking up to the counter to pay. Of course, he doesn't have the exact change, but he's like, hey, do you mind if I pay in this? And this guy is just a straight up fucking little piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, knocking on the window, it is exactly this amount, you piece of shit. And he's like, okay. So he goes up into the tower, and we focus back on Ray, who's sitting there, like, freezing his ass off, hands in his fucking pea coat, and a American family comes up, and they are all of the bigger variety.
Yeah, they're
Uh,
way bigger than me, and I'm pretty fucking fat. So I mean, they're way big. And they're like,
they're
"Oh, we go up to the tower or whatever," and
they're
he's
massive.
like, "Hey, fuck, I ain't being funny, man. Just don't, don't do it."
Don't the stairs are all windy. He's like, what do you mean? And he's like, what I mean, you also are a bunch of fucking elephants, and you would be falling down. And they start chasing this man,
For like 10
and
seconds.
they obviously cannot keep up.
He's not even running.
cannot
He's just
keep
like
up.
he's just like darting. You know what I mean? Oh, it's very funny.
Running backwards at one point.
And then they go to get in there to go in the tower, and they pass Brendan Gleeson, who's coming out, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know, guys, it's pretty narrow in there." And they're like, "Fuck you." It's good. It's good stuff. I get why they call it a comedy because it's
You're
got
the rudest.
yeah, it's got really funny stuff in here. But man, I don't know. I don't think it is a comedy movie. Just think it's a movie with comedy in it. But the funny stuff that's in it is very funny.
Well, so the only thing that I would disagree with you on is I get what you mean. I just, for people like me that generally go for that type of humor, like that's my humor all day long. Like that's how I talk. That's how I exist on the planet. I think for me, the dark moments in it are so like it helped to teach me what, not to get too deep here, but it helped to teach me how to deal with my own bullshit. And a lot of my, I deal with my own bullshit through comedy, through dark comedy. And yeah, man, it's just, for me, it's a full blown comedy. It has nothing else in it. Maybe a little bit of drama, but my thing is it's, yeah, drama and then comedy. It's, whew, not even very much action. And I even remember the telegram that or the, yeah, it was like a telegram, like
Oh
a
yeah,
postal
the
note.
fucking fuck you,
where
fuck
he's like,
fuckity
I'll
fuck.
tell you to fucking be at a certain fucking place. I tell you to fucking be there and fucking take Ray and fucking put him in there and they'll fuck. And it's, Ray Fiennes' character is such a cunt. He
Oh,
is such a irreversible cunt. It's it's insane.
highlight of the movie
But
for me.
okay.
Highlight for me.
Oh yeah.
Ray Fiennes in this is fucking Ralph Fiennes. Oh, I keep saying Ray Fiennes. Is that a different dude?
It's gotta be.
Is Ray Fiennes a dude?
Oh, it sounds like something. Yeah, he's a postal worker in Bruges.
Ah, boom, got him.
No, yes, Ray Fiennes or Ralph Fiennes.
Oh.
He goes by Ray Fiennes.
Oh shit! All right, I've been fucking nailing it this whole time. Yeah, Ray Fiennes, awesome.
Yeah, you've been fucking killing it, bro.
So I should mention at about this point in the movie when they storm out of the weird, where they were hanging out with hookers and doing a bunch of drugs and talking about a race war. I watched this with my kid. And I think she really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, because she saw her dad fucking like losing his goddamn mind over this shit.
Oh man, it just was really silly, man. But
oh God, it's such a perfect movie to me.
One thing you would think, I know this happens over the course of like what, 4 days, 5 days.
Yeah, maybe 4 days.
Yeah. You'd think he would have packed more than one shirt.
Who?
Ray. It just wears.
I think
he
that
wears
there's
the
a couple
same
different
shirt.
shirts in there.
I think
No,
he
he wears one that has flowers.
does he?
He's wearing one that has flowers in the. Is it the same fucking shirt?
I think he might be wearing the same shirt
Every
in every
single
scene.
time? I think he wears one plain white shirt or like plain white button-up shirt.
Ah, okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, they got to be indistinguishable. I would imagine. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it now again for the 500th time.
Second time this week. So they, while he's out, while Ray is out with his lady, Brendan Gleeson, Ken, gets a message from the boss, and he's like, "Listen, I'm gonna need you to kill Ray. You're just gonna have to kill him. Take care of it. Here's a guy. Go see him to get a gun, and just fucking kill Ray." Ken goes to see the guy about the gun, who's a very interesting, just an interesting character. And he keeps talking to him about the alcoves, and he's like, alcoves, I don't know that word.
Going to the alcoves.
He's like, yeah. He's like, no, I've heard it before. He's like, what other word would you use? He's like, I don't know, nooks and crannies. He's like, ooh, nooks and crannies. Very nice. Very nice.
But the whole time, like you have to place it in such a way. He's definitely an Eastern European guy,
Oh, yeah.
and it goes, well, to the alcoves.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, yeah, I've heard it before. It's like nooks and crannies.
Yeah. he's got
Yeah.
a really delightful accent. And that's he gets the gun. He just leaves. Whatever, that guy was weird. He goes back to the hotel. Ray's not there. He said he was going to the park. So he goes to like kind of spy on Ray at the park, and he's watching kids play. And then he's like, all right, it's time. Screws on the silencer, walks up to Ray, raises the gun, and Ray puts the other gun to his head. But he's swapped out the blanks for real bullets at this point, though. It's noteworthy. So he's like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, oh, man, you were going to shoot me. Oh, you were going to shoot yourself.
You're going to fucking shoot me.
Yeah, you were going to fucking shoot yourself. Well, like, what the fuck? So he's like, all right, I'm not going to shoot you. Just give me both of the guns and we got to figure this out.
That's when, again, Ray goes into his kind of like manic state where he's like crying constantly about this thing, which is understandable.
Yeah.
He tried to do his job, what he perceived as his job, good or bad, and killed the kid in the process.
Right.
By the way, that bullet head wound was like grotesque.
Yeah.
It was like this kid, like straight up. I know you guys can't see us, but hands in prayer mode, looking up at the cross, and just got a bullet hole just burst through his fucking skull.
Oh, right. Man. Yeah. Brutal stuff, man. And you can tell it really fucked with him, as you would, because he was getting paid to kill the priest. The priest was an old man. He'd already lived a life. You know what I mean? Good guy, bad guy, whatever the deal is. That he
probably touched boys.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to assume that's probably the case.
Maybe.
They decided he's going to put Ray on the train. So they get him on the train. He doesn't know where he's going. Ray doesn't know where he's going. Most importantly, Harry, who's the boss guy, played by Ray Fiennes, he doesn't know where they're going.
God damn Harry.
Yeah, so Brendan Gleeson's character, Ken calls the boss, and he's like, listen, you hear that? That's a fucking train. That's where Ray's on that train. Fuck you. And he's getting away, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. I gotta let him go. There ain't no way around it. So obviously the boss is like, oh, fuck this. I'll have to come here and kill you then. If you're not going to do, if you're not going to do your job. So they are setting up at one point, they're setting up this fact that Ray Fiennes is going to come kill Brendan Gleeson. Brendan Gleeson knows that Ray Fiennes is coming to kill him, so he like makes out his last will and testament. He's like, makes the apartment he was staying in real nice, the bed and breakfast or whatever it is. He's just he goes down to the pub and he's having some pints. And he's waiting for what's his name to get there and kill him. Unbeknownst to him, Ray on the train gets stopped. The cops are on, and they find him and they're like, "Did you punch the Canadian?" And he's like, "Fuck, are you talking about?"
and it's him off on the train, like, it's that fucker right there.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's like, oh man, and he's
With
like,
his
it's
wife.
that guy. He's like, yeah, oh, punch the Canadian. Oh, okay, yeah, I did do that. So they arrest him and they take him all the way back to Bruges. So he's right back where he started from on the same night that Henry, what was his name? Henry.
Or sorry, wait a second. Okay. Let's get our shit together here.
Harry?
It's Ken, Ray, and Harry.
Ken, Ray, and Harry.
Yeah.
I was close. Of both of those. It was a very name.
But before we progress, real quick,
go ahead.
I just want to say, there's a phone call that Ken has with Harry, and the whole time Harry's been like saying it's like being like in a fairy tale land. It's like a dream. Like keeps on saying that fairy tale land. It's like waking up into a dream. And Ken has to cover for Ray and acts it out like he's walking to the bathroom and leaving.
Oh, yeah.
To check and see if Ray's there. And then comes back to the phone and he's like, yeah. But I did want to tell you, Harry, that, whenever Ken was talking about the place, there was a moment where he said, I know I'm awake, but it feels like I'm in a dream. And Harry's like, oh, that's great. That's great to hear. With all the geese.
And the swans.
Right. So tomorrow, what I need you to do is I need you to put a bullet in his fucking brain and put him in the water. And it's like, oh, I'm glad I could have given that lad a little bit of whimsy before he fucking heads out.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, then we get to your part.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's back to the train. They're all
he's heading back.
They're all. It's time, baby. He's boss man's there, and he's coming for blood. They've got this set up in such a way. How would you describe the order of events? So you've got.
So it's a monotony of bullshit where it is just pure chaos. Blind boy from Chloe, and by the way, the Belgian that's like the blind boy that they keep on calling the blind boy,
Yeah,
which is so funny to me, gets a gun from Alcove's guy to go and kill Ray, and he's working for Harry at one point, and it's just a monotony of bullshit. So Ken meets up with Harry down in one of the spots that I actually get to sit in, right in front of the clock tower, and they're discussing what they're gonna do. Let Ray live and then kill me. Ken says that.
Yeah.
Let's go to the clock tower. That's where we're gonna do it. Blind boy happens to see Ray, and shit happens. Ken understands that Ray is alive, and now his life is forfeit no matter what. So, yeah, it's just this cacophony of bullshit that's just happening, like all at once.
Yeah.
Long story short, if we want to take that route, so I think there was a moment where Ray starts running away from Harry. No, I got it.
It's just
Never mind.
it's just madness here for a minute.
So Ken and Harry decide that they're going to end that right now, or end this whole fucking thing because Ken, he's sacrificing himself for Ray. He goes up to the tower, in this windy ass motherfucking tower that they have. By the way, in real life, they have like fencing over everything so nobody can jump off.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people in Belgium kill themselves. No
That's
lie.
fucking crazy.
There are a lot of people that do because of the weather, I think. But anyways, so they go to the tower. No big deal. Ken's like, go ahead and kill me. And he's telling him, like, I really appreciate what you did for me, Harry.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Hell, I respect you.
You helped me after my wife died, and I respect you. And then they call him a specific thing, not blind boy, but pussy boy or something
call him
like that.
Blind gay boy or something. Like they're just really throwing shade at him.
Blind gay boy, yeah.
Yeah.
And blind gay boy yells up to the tower to Ray Fiennes' character, Harry, and goes, Ray's alive! And then so Ken and Harry get into such a fight, like shots going off, whatever. And there's this beautiful moment. That's why, man, I don't understand why anybody couldn't think this was the most beautiful movie on the planet. Ken gets up and he's been shot in the neck. He's been shot all over by Harry. And he starts dropping coins. And I believe Danny Boy is as he's about to fall, okay. Ken falls off the tower, commits suicide, and splats on the fucking ground, right?
I like that.
And Ray is having... Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say I like the way he sprinkled the coins first so he didn't hit anybody.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
I was like, well, that's the most polite thing you could do.
Yeah. I mean, he's looking out for a friend. That's why it's so beautiful to me. But the whole time, like, Ray is having a conversation with Chloe, starts to hear all these coins drop, and then just sees a carcass of a man known as Ken splat all over the ground.
Oh god, his fucking leg comes off and shit. It's pretty brutal.
He's grotesque. And so Ray's crying. He sees Ken. Ken's trying to tell him something. And he tells him that there's a gun underneath him. and it's a broken gun because he has fallen from 8 stories
right.
down,
Yeah.
down,
Just onto
and it just
cobblestone.
crumbles in his hand.
Yeah.
And
So
then
he's like,
Harry
run.
starts to pursue.
Yeah, run. Harry sees him and he's like, oh, fuck. So they have a chase. They get back to the hotel, which is like the one place where he's got that little 38 special. And he gets to it in time, I guess. But
Yeah,
then he's kind of caught there with his pants down because while he was in the room looking for it, Harry showed up. But the pregnant lady that owns the place is
Yeah.
like, "You're not fucking, get out of here." He's like, "Oh, but I
Don't
just
you fucking talk to me like
yeah,
that.
I just want to fucking yeah, I just want to this guy, I got to get him." And she's like, "Not fucking here, you're not." So they
Yeah.
they yell up at each other. They're like, cuz she's pregnant, you know.
The most Midwestern thing ever.
Oh yeah, it is.
By the way.
So they make an agreement like he's gonna jump out the window and Ray finds he's gonna run around the building, and they'll meet each other outside. And Colin Farrell's able to hit a barge on the
Yeah,
on the
they
ravine.
make a whole bet.
Yeah.
Like, hey, so if you can, if you can reach me outside, I'm gonna jump this way. Don't hurt this woman. Ray says that.
Yeah.
I think a good person for being an assassin.
Right.
Then you have full reign on me.
So he does. He gets all the way to the barge, and I like the way that he takes a couple pop shots and he misses, and then Colin Farrell's like, "Oh yeah, he's too far," and Ray Fiennes just squints him down and puts one right in his guts.
Man, that was rough for me.
I was like, "Oh man, he got him." I'm rubbish. I'm rubbish with a handgun. I love to shoot. I'm okay at like 35 feet. But anything after that with a handgun, I can't hit jack shit with him.
Gets to him landing on the boat.
Yeah, he lands on the boat. He gets shot. Been shot. And then does he swim?
Ray,
Does he swim to the thing? How's he get off?
I think he jumps off onto a canal.
Yeah.
And he starts to go towards what I can only picture in my head. What McDonough was going for is like Ray seeing a white light, like the end of his life. All right, so Harry is chasing him down. He realizes he's hurt Ray, and Chloe is there on set. Maybe she's not. Maybe not yet.
She gets there, but yeah,
But Ray, Ray
oh,
walks towards a white light,
uh-huh.
and he sees the movie set, but we don't know that yet until
Right.
he's like walking past. And Ray, because he's on his, like, what he believes he's dying, goes down to his knees, and he is in remorse again for that kid he accidentally killed. And Harry, who had previously, by the way, I want to point this out because there's so many intricacies. I don't want everybody to think that we were so ill prepared. There's so many intricacies about this that add up. And Ray finds, or Harry had said at one point, well, if I'd killed a kid, I'd kill myself.
Yeah, right there on the fucking spot.
And you should have let him kill himself. But Ray drops to his knees. Harry lines up right in the back, shoots him like 2 or 3 times. Ray drops, and a small boy drops behind him with his head just completely crushed.
Oh
right?
yeah, just
his head is just
blown the
exploded.
fuck off. Yeah, but we know.
Harry believes that he's just now killed a child.
Yeah,
and blows his own fucking brains out.
Right there,
he has like a
on
one-liner, blows his brains out. It turns out it was fucking Tyrion the entire time.
Yeah, that's a bummer, man. That's a huge bummer. Yeah, so he blows his brains out, and then they put old fucking Ray in the ambulance, and maybe he survives.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think at one point Chloe shows up, or either that or it's in my head, and I just picture her showing up for me.
Yeah, because his last thing was like, oh man, maybe I don't want to die, maybe I want to live, and then the movie just kind of ends. How many?
Is a beautiful.
How many? Kind of thumb things you think?
How many thumb things?
Yeah, how many thumb
Like
things?
how many thumbs she shoved inside of him, or
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. We've never used that as a unit of measurement before. How many?
two thumbs?
If your 10
in his bum.
fingers, if your 10 fingers were all actually thumbs, and all those thumbs were actually
Votes?
Tyrion Lannisters, little tiny,
Oh, God,
little tiny Tyrion Lannisters. How many thumbs would you give it out of 10?
You have to acknowledge the fact that I've told you this is my favorite movie of all time.
Yes, I'm assuming a tight 10.
If I had to live with 10 thumbs for the rest of my life, and probably my wife would divorce me at one point because I couldn't grip many different things.
Yeah.
Minus like very small amounts of things.
Well,
I would say a 9 point.
They have their own hands and thumbs, though, so you might become even more articulate. You can have one of those little Tyrion Lannisters just punching her clit.
That's true. That's true.
Just speed bagging it.
We've now brought my wife's clit into this.
might be a game changer. You never know.
She's
sorry,
a woman
go on.
with no clit. No clit.
Oh, no clit, huh?
Yeah, she has zero clit. Anyways, she's gonna hate me for even talking about this. She hates sexual jokes. Anyways, who cares? I do, babe. I care.
Yeah, no, I care. I care as well. Sorry about that. Well, I'll strike it from the record, but
He
probably leave it in
He
the
won't.
pod.
It's
I'll
good
probably leave it in
TV.
the podcast.
Yeah, he's gonna leave it for that. Honestly, man, it's a 10 out of 10. I don't think that there's anything I could bitch and complain about because it's such its own movie. I don't even sometimes like so many episodes because that's how I think of it. I don't think it's boxy or anything like that. I think it's very spot on with its humor, even though very controversial. Very controversial. I just, for me, it's many people may not see the same thing. Many people may not see the same thing I see. But whenever I look at this movie, I see happiness, laughing, and I see heart, which is a guy getting over something that has struck him so hard trauma-wise that he's done himself and dealt with, and then having a friend to back you up at the same time.
I agree, man. This is it's a beautiful story. It really is a lovely story, and it's got there's something kind of Guy Ritchie feeling about it, but I mean that in a complimentary way. It has something to do with man, just the vibe of it and the way all these weird things cross paths right at this weird opportune moment, and these characters could have never met again. You know what I mean? Very easily they could have all just parted ways, but via these weird circumstances, everybody just kind of crossed paths at this perfect time.
This whole movie is a coincidence,
and
that's what it is.
Man, I really enjoyed it on a rewatch. Thinking about picking up a physical copy of this one. I really liked it. I'm gonna go hard 9.5. I had a blast. I had a blast with
another one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. You are the
I have 3 copies
of In Bruges.
Yeah, I can send you all like one at least.
No, don't worry about it, man. I'll pick one up. Yeah, but you sent me a copy of Bloody Hell. You found
you
found
sent me a copy
the
of
Blu-ray.
Bloody Hell too. Well, I mean, you told me about it. I really enjoyed myself.
Man, what
I
a
think,
hoot!
Not to kiss your ass. I'm not trying to kiss your ass. I just think that something like this is pretty original.
Yeah,
and I like your humor. And I'm not going to stay for the other film because fuck you.
No, you have to.
I don't know you, and yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to.
So yeah, we as we typically do, we will watch a bad movie, and since we're not doing this in person, we weren't really looking at any kind of time constraints, so we went with a little bit longer film. We watched Assassins, and we're gonna take a little intermission. We're gonna come back and talk about that. So here's a little heavy metal interlude thing, and we'll be back in a minute. We'll talk about that other movie.
We're gonna get up in it, boy.
back. We watched the movie Assassins earlier in the week. Let me find my info here on it.
Just me yesterday.
Assassins. Assassins is a R-rated 1995 action crime film, 2-hour, 13-minute runtime. Feeling every second of it. It's got a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb and a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. 82% of Google users like this movie. Directed by Richard Donner. Music composed by Mark Mancina. Screenplay, Lily Wachowski, Elena Wachowski, and Brian Hegeland. Stars Sylvester Stallone, Antonio Banderas, Julianne Moore, and that's pretty much it.
Danny, did you say 88% on Google?
82.
Wow. That seems still surprising.
That seems pretty extreme to me. I don't know about you. Here, let me move this.
Is it a cult thing like Cliffhanger? I mean, Cliffhanger was a good film. I could watch Cliffhanger any day.
Cliffhanger was all right.
Like-
It's been a really long time since I've seen it, if I'm being honest. I don't recall much about. I recall more about the Ace Ventura parody of it than I probably recall
Ice
of
picks
Cliffhanger.
going through the body.
When he's getting that squirrel,
Icicles going through the body.
he's getting that raccoon, and he's like, "Don't let go."
yeah. I'm
So-
pretty positive that was. I think I was 11 whenever I first watched that with my religious grandmother.
Nice.
And she put it on for me, and she was like, "Sylvester Stallone, he gets my withers trembling."
Did she?
I'm pretty sure.
Did she
that's
say that?
exact verbiage? Yeah.
Is she single?
Yeah, she's currently in a nursing home right now.
Nice.
She's got the blue hair bonnet. I like to call those women house cats, blue-haired house cats.
Very
But
nice.
yeah, she's disgruntled. But yeah, still.
As you would be if you were old now, you know what I mean? Or at any point in time, really. I think I'd just be like, my fucking bones hurt. Get me out of here. So, look, I know we're way off topic. I know that. I know it because there's not a lot to say about this movie for real.
Oh, there's a few things to say. There's
what would you
35 lines of
yeah,
of
right.
notes.
The script is like 4 pages. It feels that way.
Yeah, it does. There is a moment in time in the 90s where there was very much that thriller action-esque thing going on. And this movie tries to hit that.
Yeah.
But what they forgot to tell Sylvester Stallone, much like many other movies, is can you have emotion?
Right.
And to which his face said, no.
Inquisitive. That's what he's got up his sleeve, baby. He looks either
it's just a look.
stoic,
It's like
stoic, or sometimes he can slightly raise one eyebrow and he looks inquisitive. He's got two.
It's like a kid that's been hit too many times in the head with a fucking sledgehammer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a donkey.
So the dialogue's not anything special. The character arcs aren't anything special. I will tell you what the whole movie's about here in a second for the listeners out there. But the best way that I could describe this movie is imagine that you've got like 4 pretty cool things that people would want to look at, but you put them inside this giant airport hangar and you put them all at opposing corners so they just feel like as fucking as possibly far away as you can get them from each other, because this whole movie is just it's a lot of dead space.
Oh my God. Hey, have you ever thought about in an airport, did you ever see a guy with a ponytail? Bad guy. Probably Russian. Probably Norwegian. Probably of an ilk that you do not desire to see.
Yeah. Just probably ponytail guy.
Yeah, it's always curly ponytail guy. And most likely he's balding in the middle.
Oh yeah.
And then also has a ponytail.
Yeah, and I can feel
He's
that.
very
I can
proud.
relate to that. You think I should grow mine out?
Oh yeah, most
I
definitely.
should do the ponytail.
I think you could have a skullet like nobody's business. That's what I hope to.
I have never heard
actually
skullet.
aspire
Oh, you
to.
got to give me a second. I've never heard of a skullet before. That is fucking the
Oh,
best.
a skullet, Danny, is your bald head with remnants of hair dangling off.
Oh
in the
yeah,
back.
yeah. You just got to let the
I-
boats
we-
party in the back.
Me, Barrett Lewis, and Josh Welch, and even Rich Jackson used to frequent the Deloge Walmart or
Oh,
Farmington
man.
Walmart.
Yeah. Now I know
and
what they're
see
called
Skullet
though.
every single day, and he talked like, "Hi y'all, what's going on?"
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing, man.
So, Brandon, what would you say this movie's about? Not like we got to stay on target for like 10 minutes and then it's just fucking whatever.
This movie is about a man supposedly trying to get out of being an assassin, even though he takes great joy in being an assassin,
Yeah.
and meets a dastardly, like a arch nemesis, which is the Mexicans.
In this case, he's
And the
literally
most flamboyant Mexican,
literally taking his jobs.
the most flamboyant Mexican that I've ever met on the planet.
Yeah, he's Antonio Banderas is. I kind of wish he was just doing Puss in Boots.
Yeah,
You know what I
well,
mean?
I
Like
kinda
as
just
a
wish he was
man,
doing like
as a regular
what's-
man.
what-
Just I wish he was like, I will kill you, and then I'll be number one in Boots.
Well, I mean, yeah, I really wish he was doing fucking. Why can't I think of it right now? What was the
Was it good?
Desperado?
I was gonna say Desperado. If you're talking about a good one,
Is it Desperado?
yeah, where he's got the fucking guitar case full of guns.
Yeah, bro.
Hell yeah, bro.
And then
he's just greasy
and
as fuck.
the
It's
Mexico
good.
one.
I remember that being a pretty good movie. It probably hasn't aged well, but maybe I'll rewatch it
was
on
the
the
one with Johnny?
rewatch it on the podcast.
Oh,
sometime.
it's good. It's good.
Is it still
good.
solid?
Yeah, it's still solid. Not the first film, because the first film is done by a different actor, but then it's not Eli Roth that does it, but it's the fuck is his goddamn name? I can't remember names today. I've been literally in school for law for the past 2 months, so I'm like all over the place.
A little jumbled.
Robert
yeah, I get you.
Rodriguez makes Desperado makes that film. Antonio Banderas is great in it, and then there's
he's
follow-up film.
He's definitely the most exciting thing in this movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's like trying to be the Mexican Joker.
Yeah, he really is.
Easily.
That's a good analogy. That is pretty much what he's doing. So it
Like from the shots in the taxi and everything.
right, yeah, he's just extra crazy. Whoa, super zany guy. Ha 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 ha. A lot of stuff's real funny, but it's not actually funny.
I've watched all of your shit.
Right, yeah. And this movie, it's trying to do weird highbrow shit.
Yeah.
About like, oh, chess. You know the game chess? Ooh, king's rook to queen's pawn or whatever. Let's see what this kid knows. And they have their weird fucking laptops from the 90s and shit. So this is two assassins cross paths, and they maybe they're gonna kill each other. There's a disc involved, and that's where you get Julianne Moore. And then they have a fucking adventure and a shootout. And Stallone and Julianne Moore.
I used to play this with my old assassin buddy that I killed.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh, what was that? Oh, I studied all of your chess games. Why?
Why?
Well, yeah, why would you do that?
No, it's so we're bypassing one thing that I think everybody should know.
Okay.
Which is the greatest part about this movie.
The cat?
There's at one point that Sylvester Stallone no. Sylvester Stallone, it's in the first like 10, 20 minutes. Sylvester Stallone is asked to kill somebody, which they're trying to pass as a Italian mob boss.
Oh yeah.
And they're trying to pass it off as being la 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 la.
Oh yeah.
It's like Jesus Christ. Sylvester Stallone has how did I put it? A gun,
Okay.
casket or a
Yeah.
cast gun with a hole for the castings to fall out of.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
not only has he,
That was
not
the
only has
yeah, because it would burn your arm. You'd have an owie. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Oh God,
but
it's
at the same
fucking
time,
so
I'm
stupid.
thinking,
So imagine,
if
imagine,
nobody can,
imagine if you're familiar with firearms at all. Imagine a 22 pistol with a silencer, and then imagine you have a cast that goes up to your elbow, but the cast
Yeah.
is like longer than your arm is because you're holding a gun with a
Yeah.
silencer. And then you've got a tiny little piece of tape for the bullet to come out of, and you've got another tiny little piece of tape for the casing to fly out of.
which, by the way, I don't even know if they showed the other tiny piece of tape for the bullet casings. It just happened.
It just flapped open. Yeah.
It just flapped open, and he's literally unleashing hell on Antonio Banderas' character, which, by the way, his name is Miguel Bain,
Yeah.
spelled Bain.
I think Stallone calls him
Fantastic.
Bean one time. I think
Fair
he
enough.
does. I think he's, oh yeah, Bean. I don't know, man. The whole movie's just fucking weird. So they keep having these weird little interactions. A lot of this stuff is not going to make a difference for the outcome of the movie. Julianne Moore, she's got a disc. They got to get Julianne Moore's disc and kill the buyers and secure the package or whatever.
Don't forget the cat eyes.
Yeah, cat eyes on the old 90s computer. So that laptop, wow, I wish we had battery technology like that today. They never plugged that motherfucker in.
Oh my god. Hey, do you remember in the movie they have, so Julianne Moore, by the way, one of the greatest actresses of our time,
Oh, she's
growing up in
she's
the
great.
early 2000s at least, whenever she was hot. But hot being like what she was doing. But she unravels this goddamn monstrosity, which I remember laptops being that big because we came from the same time period.
Yeah.
You and me, Danny.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. There's 5 disc like emoticons that show up on the side of that laptop,
Yeah.
and then one disc is downloaded. It goes away. The next disc is downloaded, goes away.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, it's never ever been like that.
Dude, this is the
And
thickest
you're using
laptop.
a floppy disk.
The
You're
screen,
using a floppy disk.
dude, there are better screens at like fucking bank ATMs. Remember when like every bank had the little tiny with the, like the plastic film on top, you could tap it. Man, yeah, it's like that in the bulkiest laptop in the world, and it's in that weird gray area in the 90s where nobody was really sure what technology was or what it was capable of.
Yeah.
So they
and
would
that
just
could be
go,
fine.
I don't know, let's just say we can do this because the internet, and people would go, oh yeah, I bet you could do that. That's
Yes,
crazy.
the
People
IM.
can do that.
I'm gonna IM him.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Weird computer stuff. Eventually there's a big shootout at the end. Parts of it are interesting, but I don't really want to touch on them because I didn't really care very much.
Jesus, you shot straight to the end. If you don't
Look,
mind,
we gotta
I want to hit on.
No, let me wrap it up, and then any highlights you want to point out. They have a big shootout, and Stallone and Julianne Moore walk away with $20 million and the disc, which contains. You're not really sure.
Yeah.
You don't really know. It's a disc, so why wouldn't it be important? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it's
then
a
when
floppy disk.
they're walking out, Stallone's like, "Oh, we gotta take me to the hospital." Oh, womp womp womp, and that's it. But yeah, any highlights? There's still a couple of things I want to talk about, but that's the movie.
So the main thing I want to say is why I said it, cast gun. There's at one point Antonio Banderas is caught and he gets out by breaking a cop's neck, and my comment was, cops' necks are that frail in real life. Just a flick of the wrist and a dead as a doornail.
It's like it was paper mache.
There's one point that Antonio Banderas is in the taxi. By the way, so Antonio Banderas is caught during the assassination, the messy assassination of this kingpin.
He was
of some
about to get
sort.
away with it too, scot-free.
Yeah. So he ends up in a taxi with the same guy who has been Sylvester Stallone. By the way, what's his name? Robert Rath. So Robert Rath and Miguel Bain.
Right.
So wow, we really were hitting it hard with these names.
Oh yeah. Robert Rath.
And
Just to forget the fuck out
There's
of here with that shit.
there's a point where Robert Rath is like, "Oh, you got a cut on your head. What a fucking plastic surgery."
Right.
And Miguel Bain goes, "Yeah, I'm dead tired."
Right.
I'm like, "Oh my
That's
god."
not even
Jesus
even
Christ.
good or clever. It's like just quit.
Well, and
just
by
quit.
the way, he's seen his face whenever he's like constrained in the cop car, and yet Robert Rath shows his face again, and instantly Miguel Bain does not know anything about him.
Right.
Does not like picture him whatsoever. Great assassin. I feel like Stallone was getting real hard for chess, and he was like starting to touch the cat eyes like this and rub on him.
Like they were nipples.
Like, oh yeah, you fucking moved it.
Yeah,
Oh.
man, a lot of this was just like, oh boy, really trying to beat you over the head with it.
Yeah,
And
really trying to get hard.
and just a bizarre amount of nothing in between these weird little events. Like, okay, the bit where Stallone is like, "Oh, I got the thing. I gotta kill this girl." From the time that he gets that fax or that image or whatever, and actually sets out to go, whenever he actually goes to find her, it's a ridiculous amount of time. Like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
8 minutes of movie between that and the next thing, and that's why this is 2 hours and 15 minutes long. Is because you just cut to the next scene. That's what they do in everything. This
Yeah.
doesn't need to
Yeah.
like deliberately. It feels like it is
Dialogue for
deliberately
no
longer. Nobody cut this. This is the director's cut.
Oh, dude.
It's got to be.
This is the director's cut on acid. Because at one point, all right, there's domestic pillow abuse from Julianne Moore watching her neighbors downstairs beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
There's
It does have that.
anytime a hitman
That was a
gets-
weird. She's just got hidden cameras in her neighbors' apartments.
Why?
She's a creep, I
Because
guess.
Is it trying to say that she's technologically advanced?
'Cause it just looks like she's a sexual pervert.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, anytime a hitman gets into trouble, what does he do?
The camera was straight up in her
Shows some money.
neighbor's bedroom.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
she's laying down on the bed. I was like, well, that's fucking weird. Why do you have that?
Well, I mean, and the big thing from this, like I said, anytime a hitman gets into trouble, all he has to offer is a wad of cash. Like, did you notice he got into a car crash with somebody?
Yep.
And he did something else where he just like offers them money, and then he's like, "Oh, okay, free and clear."
Yeah, and then he
No big
punched the
deal.
guy. When he hits that cabbie,
Yeah.
he gives him a big fat wad of
Yeah.
money, and the guy's like, all right. And then he just socks him still, knocks him out. Ah, man. Fucking weird action
The other
movies.
thing I was going to say, so we have Miguel Bain. He walks into a hallway trying to get to Julianne Moore, and he comes across two individuals who are in the middle of the hallway. We see them from afar, and they're making out. But whenever we get closer, it's a man and a woman going,
just smiling.
like you guys can't see that, but it's basically a woman trying to act like she's making out with somebody or being happy.
Yeah.
That's they're covering as, or they are Interpol covering as a couple who's making out.
That's hilarious. I did not catch that bit. There's just some bizarre stuff in here. I mean, a lot of it just makes sense. It's a very A to B average run of the mill action movie, but it's really pretty
But
light
it's
on
not.
action.
It's
Yeah,
so-
it's pretty light on
Ugh.
it. What 3 action scenes through the whole movie?
Yeah, agreed.
4, it's kind of.
I'm
I
pretty
guess
sure-
I guess you could make the argument that it's action packed when he gets the briefcase full of money and he jumps off that subway while it's stopped, or the monorail or whatever. He jumps down off
Yeah.
that thing, gets in the car, and then he's like, "Oh, there's a bomb in here. We got to put it in a dumpster." That's kind of action, I guess.
Why?
I
Why
don't know.
though?
Weird. He could have just thrown it out the window, but I guess it's cheaper to blow up a dumpster.
Julianne Moore at one point talks about the money as though she says, "I'm trying to get the money to buy my cat a boyfriend."
Yeah, that's her end game. She's trying to get that cat some D. She's all so she can record it. I'm sure, fucking pervert.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the very end, she even states, let's go buy Pearl a boyfriend." And he goes, "Yeah, at some point,
Let me go
let's
to the
go
hospital.
to the hospital."
Yeah, so weird, man. The shootouts are weird. There's some kind of funny stuff in here, but it's so fucking spread out. It's hard to give it any credit. You know what I mean? When there are 2 jokes in it and they're literally 2 hours apart, it's hard to care. You know,
There are jokes.
they're just not funny.
All right, so you mean
Like, you could say I'm
intended
dead
jokes.
tired.
you say intended jokes. The whole movie is a set of romantic novel covers where she's in the Mexican cemetery and she's like, "Oh, my man. Oh my God. I used to think that you were terrible." Where she's like looking up at him and is snuck out through the night. Do you remember that?
The bit where she's in the cemetery.
Literally, they are in Mexico and she sneaks out
How far?
after Stallone telling her, "Don't sneak out."
Oh yeah. Dude, this movie is fucking.
It's terrible.
It's wild. It's wild the places that it go, the extremes that it goes for no reason. And you know what? I bet you this made money. I bet it made a lot of money. But I don't have the box office information, and we're using my phone to do this chat thing. So I'm not gonna do your own research. We encourage that here. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about this except for the fact that I didn't really care for it. If your thumbs were those casts, you had 10 thumbs, and those thumbs were those casts from that scene where he's got the cast,
each
but he's
one
holding
being
a gun.
like a barrel. Each one being
the whole
a barrel.
the whole
Or-
cast. You have really long
Jesus
thumbs that you
Christ.
can't bend, but they do have pistols inside them, I guess.
I'd give it a. I mean, I'd also give it a 10, being that it was probably the biggest waste of my time. 10.
A 10. Huh? Well, we want to go off of like how much enjoyment you got out of it. Like knowing it's bad when
10.
you put it on. Like if you watched let's say for instance, have you ever seen like a Hell Comes to Frogtown or any just weird fucking crazy movies from the 60s or 70s?
Okay, yeah,
They're
yeah.
like that. You know it's
Okay.
it's not going to be like you're not going to be edge of your seat and like really really into it, but you get a certain level of enjoyment out of it being dated or bad or whatever. So that's the scale I want you to give this.
I'd have to say, because of the simple fact that I knew I was going to be on the show, the only thing that truly pissed me off was it was 2 hours and like 13 minutes.
Yeah.
And I truly thought it was going to be like whenever I picked it, I thought it was going to be an hour and a half. Let me give you my rating based off of a quote.
Okay.
Or something that happened.
Okay.
There was a moment in the movie where they bring up cowboys and Indians. And that was a reason to tell the woman love interest how she should shoot somebody that she doesn't know.
Yeah.
And is friends with somebody that she doesn't know.
Right.
And actually be on his side. And she instantly went for him. So
she did.
I will give it a whole lot of Julianne Moores, 5 Julianne Moores out of 10.
That's not bad. That's pretty fair. And like Antonio Banderas was fine in it. I would say there was probably not enough of him, if I'm being honest. This is more of
He
a
was
Stallone.
nervous as fuck.
This is more of a Stallone film. Yeah, I like to see him having his weird breakdown. He's entertaining. Stallone, he's just being an old grumpy grump, and I don't care. But the, Julianne Moore was pretty good, although some of the storyline for her stuff was like it was just vague enough. You know what I mean? Where they're like, we'll give it a vague thing and don't worry about it. The details don't matter. But all in all, yeah, like it's just an airport hangar with like 4 cool things in it. It's a ton of dead space. I'm gonna give it a 3 for me. I guess you finished it. It wasn't terrible. It did make sense. But my God, it was so boring. I legitimately I watched this last night and I was on short order of sleep. I needed a good night's rest anyway. But I'm watching this movie and I had to pause it. And I was like, whoa, caught myself like nodding off. And I was like, well, I got to pause it and get up and take a shower or something. I got to finish it for the show. And Alicia's like, what, just, suck it up. But what's it got? 10 minutes? No, it had 48 minutes left. I was like, she's like, you've been watching this movie for 4 hours. I'm like, not exactly,
Dude,
but
the one thing I would say, and I'm joking whenever I say my rating, but it was entertaining to me because I have literally been watching Love Is Blind off of my wife, and the idea of Stallone not making a face besides the face that he always makes,
yeah.
and also having like Julianne Moore pop in there and do a romantic fucking, I don't know, and also fucking Banderas going in there and barely seeing Julianne Moore in the middle of the Mexican cemetery.
Oh,
Going,
yeah. Well, I kind of like that part. They paid attention to that enough to know that Antonio Banderas is not supposed to really know what she looks like, apart from a picture he saw, which you have to infer that he's seen a picture of her, but he doesn't really know what she looks like, and that's why he doesn't just spot her out of a crowd at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, we rated it. Here's what I would like to know. If you were going to do this movie all over again, what would you do differently?
I would
just pretend, let's just play God. We don't have to, but let's just say we do.
Hey, so the only thing I would have done different is I would have placed a melon instead of a apricot on the fence outside of the bank.
Okay, that's fair.
Do you remember what replaces that one piece of fruit?
Yeah, it's such just to get a bead on it from the window.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's it.
That would be the one thing I would change. Yeah, I don't need.
I'd just make it more brisk.
Exist.
I'd make it more brisk. It needs any jokes in it. Like, I mean, there are jokes in it, but they're all bad. Get I don't know, Edgar
But
Wright.
It shouldn't. It should not exist. It shouldn't be a thing.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. You could make a movie like this 2 hours long, but not with this story. No. Because there's not enough story to tell. How was your day? I went to work. What happened at work? Nothing eventful. That's the end of the story.
I looked at chess whenever I fucking killed somebody. One time I used to have a friend that also killed people, and also I got a new friend.
There's 20 minutes. There's 20 minutes of just grown men on Messenger in this movie. It's just
and not even Messenger. It's just straight up fucking
creepy satellite chat. I don't know what you would call that.
I don't even know what you would call it. Jesus Christ!
It looks like maybe a military. Is it a military? Any of it a military thing?
Well, I can speak for old military. No,
that's not in the 80s. It's not retired 80s military equipment.
No, I've been in the military since the fucking 1960s. That's not a fucking thing.
Oh shit! That's not government issue.
Yeah, it's government issue.
Yeah, I would do whatever to make it more brisk. I don't even care if you keep Stallone. Personally, I wouldn't. I would remake this present day. Let me get Antonio Banderas playing in the role of Sylvester Stallone.
And I want to get Antonio Banderas playing that, and I also want to get Heath Ledger's corpse to play
Julianne Moore.
Miguel Bain. Miguel Bain. But Julianne Moore, yeah.
So if you were going to get this remade, let's say we're going to get present day Antonio Banderas to play the role of Sylvester Stallone in this, who would you get to be the wild card young buck assassin, like recast?
I would say, I think it would be some of the, what's his name from It?
Oh, Bill Skarsgård?
Yeah,
Bill
I think
Skarsgård?
so.
That'd be a
I
good
think
one.
You take a French approach, like what they're trying to do with the new John Wick. I think you could do that. Or a like Norwegian approach, especially since they're trying to sell things to the Norwegians or Northerners or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Julianne Moore.
Yeah, who would you
I
get
would
for?
like to see the chick that.
Well, I mean, you're
played-
getting present day Antonio Banderas, so it's got to be somebody who's not too young, like Alicia Vikander.
Crispin Glover. Crispin Glover. I think I would. He acted as wacky.
Yeah, well, that's true. You know what? And I buy Crispin Glover as a hacker who's never seen daylight and cares
I
about
love
his
him.
cat more than
I love
anything.
him
You know
so
what I mean?
much.
I could definitely see him doing that. I was thinking of
Love him.
I was thinking of like Daniel Kaluuya, but I think that's just because I just watched Get Out, or maybe like a Jonathan Majors. But no, I like that Crispin Glover angle because he's creepy and sweaty and methodical. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what you need.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody.
And
I would like my main character to run his mouth more, and for my antagonist to be like more threatening, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I think for Julianne Moore's character, I would pick the antagonist from Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, and also House of the Dragon. She was the green dress.
Lady Alicent Hightower. God, what is her fucking name? I'm talking to you on my phone, so I don't. What? I can't remember it. 13 Reasons Why or 15 Reasons Why or whatever number that show that was on Netflix about that girl that everybody liked her and she killed herself.
I'll look it up. No, it's not the same chick.
It's not the lady that played Alicent Hightower?
Yeah, but I don't think it's the 13
it is.
Reasons Why.
I bet it is.
Is it?
Yeah, I bet it is. What's her name?
No, she's white.
I see
the
you.
other
I see you Googling
person
it.
is.
They're both white. They're white as fuck. Bitches shop at
Well,
Target.
they're not that white.
They're fucking Target
They're
with
not
a
that
mocha
white.
latte white.
No, Olivia Cook. Olivia Cook.
Olivia Cook is one, and who's the other one?
Who's the other what?
Also Olivia Cook. So you're saying Olivia Cook is Alicent Hightower?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and I think she would be.
And who's the girl in 13 Reasons Why?
13 Reasons Why. I can't believe we're doing this on this episode.
Yep, believe it. I love Googling a thing. People love to know. The people want to know, and half of them are driving.
Well, the first character that I see is not that bitch.
Who is it?
Yeah, it's Catherine Langford.
Catherine.
Fuck you.
Oh, they look familiar as fuck, though, don't they?
Fuck you. They don't.
They
Fuck
don't even
you.
look the same?
I know my people.
Fucking whatever.
They
I'm
have dark
terrible at
eyes around their eye, or dark skin around their eyes.
it. That's it. They just both look tired. And my brain's
Yeah,
like,
they
same
both look
lady.
tired.
Hey, man, happens to the best of us and me more often because I always am like, it's the same person because I have a movie podcast.
Nah, it's that bitch. No, it's that bitch.
So, I mean, that's it. We talked about it. We watched them, the Assassins. We talked about it next segment of the show.
Hey, what you watching?
Brandon, what you been watching, brother?
What have I been watching?
I got some stuff. I can interject if you need a second.
Well, go ahead.
I watched Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
Weird. Wow, really?
Yeah,
Is it good?
Dude, it was
funny.
so much fun. It's one of the funniest movies I've watched probably this year. I've very, very much enjoyed it, and I think when I can actually purchase a copy of it, I'm gonna buy this one.
Good.
It's so
No, that's great
it's
because
so fucking weird and bizarre, and Daniel Radcliffe is just, buddy, he's coming in at 100%.
good. I mean, in my head, I really wanted it to be, and I've heard nothing but funny things about it. But same time, I've been focusing on mostly TV shows. One thing that I cannot stop watching over and over again, Cabinet of Curiosities,
Guillermo del
and
Toro's,
especially whenever I paint.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
especially whenever I paint, I just listen to it into the background or
Oh,
in the
that's a good one.
background.
I watched the first 3 episodes and was loving them, and fell asleep in like towards the end of the third one. And I'm like, all right, one night I'm just gonna stay up late and I'm gonna binge a couple more of them until I'm all caught up. It's the sort of thing like my kid's not really into, and my old lady is like opposed to. She just doesn't like vignettes. You know what I'm saying? Which is understandable. You know, it's a taste thing.
Yeah,
So,
understandable.
so
the one
some of those things
that
I just tend to watch on my own. But man, I was very into that.
Man, the one that I love the most is Pikmin's something. I can't remember. The second thing I'd be into, or that I'm into,
Man, I really like the one with the rats.
oh God, that was so good.
That's brutal.
Barbarian is a fantastic film.
I watched Barbarian.
Even though
I think
it is very much, I think I liked that more the second time watching it. Yeah.
I just did a
And
one.
then,
I just did a one and done with Barbarian, but I did really, really enjoy it. I think I talked about it a little bit on the last episode of the show.
Yeah, I think so. The other one was, yeah, I thought we all at one point had talked about it.
Oh, we talked about it on that roundtable discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
ATI.
what's up. I hadn't seen it at that point. I have since then. I watched it. I didn't know it was on HBO, or I would have watched it that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was loving it. It's
Chainsaw. I wanna roll right now. Chainsaw Man. If anybody likes anime,
this guy, I do.
this is the most grotesque.
I'm 3 episodes in.
Nasty, and it's 5 episodes in right now.
Yeah, no, I'm loving Chainsaw Man.
I bought those since the very first manga.
Oh no shit!
Amazing.
That's cool. My kid loves mangas. She's got quite the collection going actually. But right now I think she only reads like 4 or 5 series. But she loves them, man. Loves a good page turner. But that one, Chainsaw Man, after watching a couple episodes, I was like, not sure this one's appropriate for you yet. I mean,
it's very horny.
2 years,
very
yeah.
horny.
I was like, 2 years, you're gonna get into it anyway. So who the fucking cares? But
and the last thing that I would say is,
which is a bummer because the pilot's not. I watched the pilot and I was like, baby, you got to watch this show. And then I watched 2 more and I was like, never mind.
Yeah. The one thing I would say is I know a lot of people hate it, and I know that there is this like plethora of people that love Halloween, but Halloween Ends to me is actually a superb film.
Yeah,
I love Halloween Ends so much.
I'm a longtime fan of the Halloween franchise. It's like the first real scary movie. Poltergeist is the first real scary movie I ever saw, and then I watched Halloween. And a huge fan of the Halloween franchise. I love fucking Parsons and everybody else. They get in there for those. They're great. Love Jamie Lee Curtis. The last one I was really, really disappointed with, Halloween Kills. This one I was like,
Fair enough.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I had fun with it. Was it awesome? It wasn't awesome for me, but it worked. So
yeah, fair enough. I had fun with it because it was completely different from the series. It
almost felt as
Season
removed.
of Witch.
It almost felt as removed as Season of the Witch.
Yeah, it was to me. I mean, I loved it because it was all practical effects, from the fucking DJ getting his head ripped off.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Like, I loved it, man.
Puts
I loved it so
the
much.
tongue on the record.
Par for the course.
Yep.
I loved it so much.
I also
So
watched.
yeah,
Oh no, go ahead.
no, that's my bit.
I also watched "Don't Worry, Darling," just to see what all the commotion was or wasn't about. And
Oh yeah, and did you?
it was all
did
right.
you not worry?
Yeah, it was fine. I don't know. What I suspect happened is somebody who didn't normally write horror started writing horror, and they're like, I've got a brand new idea, and then they gave it to their friends, and their friends are like, oh, like the Stepford Wives, oh, like The Village, oh, like this other movie,
Yeah.
and they're like, fuck, and they tried to
Yeah.
change some things, and then they were like, now it's different. It was just okay. It did like the ending was a little flat for me. I really like Florence Pugh. I actually thought Harry Styles was pretty good. Chris Pine was great as kind of a cult leader
It's
sort of
it's
guy.
like a movie. It's like a movie.
Yeah. Oh God, that
inside
was.
of a,
It's like a cinematic. You know, you really need to like go to the cinema to. It's a movie. That's the description of it. It's just a movie. Is the rating I would give it if I could give it a vaguer rating. I don't know. Give it a 7. It had some cool stuff in it. I wasn't blown away with it. I wasn't mad. I watched it. So I don't know. It was just whatever.
Well, last thing that I would send you off with is a movie called Threads.
Movie called what?
Threads.
Threads. All right, I got you.
I'm not going to say anything about it,
Okay.
but watch it.
Threads. What's it on? Like, where's it? Is it streaming or what? Where's it at?
How about this? Go fuck yourself. Find it.
Okay. All right. Threads. You heard it here first, folks. Go fuck yourself and find it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said that to them earlier on.
Yeah.
Danny.
Yeah. No,
Don't
definitely.
make me out to be a fucking asshole.
I don't have my.
over here.
I'm not phoning it up here. I got my phone's for the purpose of this podcast. Granted, now that I know this and this is the first one, next time I will have my laptop handy. But yeah, as far as like getting into stuff, man, do you play games, Brandon? Do you have like a D&D campaign you got going on, or you get into video games or anything like that?
Well, I host a with friends and family a D&D campaign, but always with the games.
Are you the DM?
Last of Us 2.
Are you the DM?
Yeah, I most definitely am.
I feel your pain, brother. I would love to play Dungeons and
Yes.
Dragons someday, but sadly, I don't think I'm ever going to get to just be a character because I DM.
Why?
I DM like
Why?
three
You're
different.
friends with you're
Nope.
friends with.
You got one I can jump in
Will
on?
you stop talking for like 2 seconds?
No, this is my show. It's what I do. I
Jesus
get in here
Christ.
and I fucking
well,
run.
I mean, fuck your show.
I run my fucking cake hole for 2 hours and then I get drunk.
Oh no! Hey, welcome to Nod Knob's fucking spectacle. Hey, over here. No, anytime that you want to like play an actual in a group,
Oh, that's fucking
buddy.
awesome.
you
Yeah,
know
like
where to fucking go.
when do you guys play and how long are your sessions? Those are my two biggest questions. Because when we do it, it's like
whenever
once every couple of months and for like 6 to 10 hours.
So I don't do that. I do every other week normally whenever I'm actually home, and then we do it for 3 or 4 hours at the max, so we don't ruin it into the ground, and then
Yeah.
everybody's all upset. And I actually can remember it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Hey, come on, come on! All I'm saying is all of Danny's like 412 followers. Hey, you just hit me up. Yeah, bro. Yeah, you got a bald head? You got a skullet? Hey, man, count me in.
That'd be a good time, man.
Count me in.
Yeah.
Hey, Danny,
yeah.
you are more than welcome at the table.
Well, good. What rendition do you guys play? But last time I played was 5e.
Yeah, 5th edition. I
Yeah.
used to play since I was 3rd edition before 3.5
I
at like
think
10 years old.
I think the last one I played was 3.5. And
Yeah.
Prior, I was like in high school or something like that. So tell me, Brandon, you have some stuff you want to plug again? I know you talked a little bit about it up front. Do you like what all fingers you got your what all pies you got your fingers in? I guess
I feel like this is more of a sexual talk, so I'll say
can
it
be.
like this. I like diddling very small things, very small statues, uh, putting paint on them, and cherishing them to my soul. Uh, the one thing I will say, especially, is that uh, Danny is very sick right now, and yet he's putting on his show.
Oh, I'll edit all that out.
And
Actually,
he's
I'm quite better. I'm just congested. Is it like I'm just snotty
no,
as fuck? But I feel like
he's
$1,000,000
fucked up. Will you just stop, Danny? Oxygen is not like flowing to your body. All right. So, uh, yeah, like I have Ed Oz Imperius Emporium. I did this after my father. Um, I believe in it fully. I love to paint characters and shit like that, or montages, or like even Danny. I'd paint
Yeah,
his forehead or his body.
yeah.
And my mom even said, if there's one thing that your dad would want, it would be to paint Danny's body. And she doesn't even fucking know him. So
We can make that happen next time you're in town. Uh,
my mom has no no ties to a sexual partner. So
she
that should
is
be good.
single, is what you're saying.
Yeah. She'll fuck.
Nice. That's good to know. Good to know. Uh, yeah, man. Do you get back over to Missouri often?
No, I plan on most likely never doing that, but
Fair.
no, I do love it. A lot of people talk shit about it all the fucking time. I just
It sometimes can
made
be
a
a
goof
pretty
about it.
it can be a pretty awful place, but now that I'm like older, I'm like, who fucking cares? Every place is awful.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's
it's just
not.
it's
I
this,
mean,
yeah, it's the same
my
as every other place. The only difference is I know some people here.
the one thing I would say, never mind. Not gonna get too deep. But my dad died, and then me and my wife came here, or or went there, and I knew every single facet, like driving ATVs, doing whatever, and she had no idea. So for me, it was like normal driving around ATV. She's like, "Hey, country boy, can you take me on an ATV?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Country boy." Yeah, girl, I'll take you on a country
Right.
fucking
Yeah.
ATV.
I had never really considered myself to be very country until I like traveled a bit, and then I was like, oh, I'm
I
country
kind
as
of love
fuck.
it. Well, I kind of love it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
There ain't nothing wrong with that. You know
other
what I mean?
people see it as other people see us as this country-esque, and honestly, man, I love it.
It's a
I
weird
miss
place
it.
to be. But so how much time? All right, I am curious about this. Your minis. I want to talk about that for a second. Where do you like purchase them? Do you 3D print them yourself? Do you have like a resin table? Like how do you acquire them? Because
Well,
I have followed
usually,
your page, and before I knew that it was you, I was like, hey man, thanks for following the show. Your fucking minis look dope. But I didn't know that you were
well,
who you were. I was like, oh man, this guy's into D&D minis, and they look pretty sweet.
well, yeah, I usually print them myself, but over here, I had a dude from Britain send me a piece, and then I kind of piece them together, not how they were supposed to be printed or seen, and it's called kit bashing.
Okay.
You take certain pieces and make them into a monster in my head, what you feel like that monster would be. Um, yeah. So I, I am tasting or taking my artistic ability and trying to force it on anybody that will watch it.
Well, that's cool, man. Do you make like YouTube? Do you make videos or anything like that?
Not yet.
You should get into that, man. I would tune in for that. I love. There's one that I've watched in particular. It's called the host. His name is Brent, and it's called like Goobertown Hobbies. That's what it's called. Dude, this is the most relaxing fucking YouTube thing on the planet.
I know Brent. I know Brent. He's very lighthearted. I, on the other hand, am not lighthearted.
No, well, there's other ones that I like for instructional purposes that I prefer. But when I was like trying to get into painting and figuring out how to do it and like what are the methods that are used and stuff like that, I watched a bunch of his just because I was like, man, this shit's relaxing. Like listening to this guy just talk about painting.
I have a couple of suggestions, but we can do that after.
I probably know some of them. I did quite a bit of homework before I got into it. But I think that's going to do us for here. Brandon, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we get out of here?
Danny, I have followed this shit for the past, 6 months before we actually got to meet each other.
Yeah.
And we had passed on, shit every once in a while, music. Thank you. I appreciate it. I want to do it again, and I want to talk about more so Stallone's bullshit.
Well, good, man. I'm glad that you enjoyed yourself so much, and I think we would like to have you back on sometime. This is going to be incredibly handy for me, like when I know that I don't have a weekend available, but I still want to squeeze in an episode. Since we are doing it remotely, I think it's easier for you and easier for me during the middle of the week. So, yeah, I definitely see us doing this more as long as you're open to it.
Love you, Danny. Thank you.
All right, and as we say at the end of every episode of It's Just Two Movies.
Oh, suck them off?
Yeah!
You guys aren't going to start sucking each other's dicks, are you?
Let's call that phone call for a one-eyed Batman.
Can I make a suggestion that doesn't involve violence? Or is this the wrong crowd?
Maybe we should call in a bomb threat to Houston. I think it's free beer night at the Astrodome.
The Jedi, Bob. We don't fight with guns, we fight with our mind.
Cousin businesses are booming.
That is one big pile of shit.
Jog on.
It's Just Two Movies is a production of Blue Cheese and Bacon Studios and can be found wherever you get your podcasts.
I just wanted to throw out a couple of special thanks for the folks that make this show possible. Big thanks to Brad Sexton for our jams, Lamplighter Production for our artwork, Godsized Growing for some musical guest appearances, and Dave, who's our YouTube editor. We probably wouldn't even be on that platform were it not for him. If you want to check out anything any of these amazing people are working on, all of their links are in the description for this episode. If you want to contact the show, you can hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at It's Just Two Movies. We've got a Facebook page now, so that's on there. You can always leave us a comment on YouTube, or you can email us at itsjusttwomovies@gmail.com. Okay, yeah, and if you like the show, like, subscribe, leave us a review. That stuff helps tremendously. Go for it.
All right, folks. You may not like this. Here's a word from our sponsors. Somehow I believe, Ken, that the balance shall tip in our favor of the culture. Like a fat, black, retarded girl riding a fucking seesaw with a midget on the opposite side.
That is what he said. I was like, oh shit. He's really going for it.